Hey, everybody, welcome into the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and that, my friends, the one I am joined by, none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington. Hello.
That was like the longest introduction I've ever been given.
I know, because I almost fucked up on my usual introduction. I was like, and that, my friends, and I was like, oh fuck. How do I save this? How do I steer this into the magnificent Tavares Pennington?
Man, that's the reality of every canned intro from my extemp day. Because like you would have like 4 lines that you'd have to say, but there's this weird thing, and I would honestly, I think there's like actual research to support this probably. If you once you memorize something and then you perform it once, twice, that third time, like, it is very easy to forget. You could have done it perfectly the first 2 times. That third time, you're gonna be struggling more than you did the first 2 times. And I don't know what it is. It's something about doubt.
No, and I get it, because I'm thinking, and like I've experienced this where I'm like, I've got something and then I fuck it up, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I just have this. Yeah, like, I'm pissed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I definitely, I know how that feels, But welcome. We are here to talk about. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about some of our favorite episodes of television of all time.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the that is the subject. I don't know if there's much more to say with that. I think that our favorite episodes of all time have probably got to just objectively be the best, some of the best episodes.
And certainly some of the best episodes. And like you'll see when you get into this episode there. And when we do this segment further down the line again, because I assure you there are more of the greatest television episodes of all time, some of our favorites, than just these 5. We just picked 5 different shows and we went with it.
I think actually we picked them randomly. Like, we created a list of like
we generated a list, and then we were like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I went around and I was like, this one, all right, that's the one. So we've got a good slate of episodes for you. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking great.
Directly, only... just for you.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, it is just for you.
It is all for you.
Isn't that a beautiful connection that we've just made between us two to you? We've created this just for you. Nobody, you right now. Yeah, you, the one that's like, are they talking about? Yeah, are they talking about you? Yes, you. I'm talking about you.
Bet you didn't think anybody would be whispering in your ear right now. How you like that?
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something that you might like to hear. You got a sexy ass body.
I couldn't even keep myself composed with that. Because that was obviously the natural, like, next thing to happen. Of course.
If someone whispers into a mic, you whisper those words back.
Man.
Such is the way of things.
Such is the way of things. Well, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Euphoria,
Sopranos,
Rick and Morty, Sopranos.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't recognize any of those names on that list, you could probably just, I don't know.
Fuck right off.
Yeah, turn off the podcast now.
This is not the podcast for you in general.
No. And
you probably honestly, shouldn't listen to any of our episodes if you don't know those names.
If you haven't heard of Game of Thrones,
you're living under
probably just leave.
If you haven't heard of Game of Thrones, though, that's fine. You're cool. You are cherished and we love you.
I mean, no, you're less cool. Let's be objective about this. You're less cool, but you're still cool.
No, there's simply no fucking chance you haven't heard of Game of Thrones. Let's be real. That was the hugest show on earth.
There are, in fact, people who do live under rocks. That is a actual lifestyle.
The Amish.
I follow this dude on TikTok.
I said the Amish.
The Amish do too. They more metaphorically because this guy quite literally gave a tour of his cave on TikTok. He lives under a rock,
going full Patrick Star.
Yeah, no, he's a kind of cool dude too. Like, he's like,
I don't know, that might be a move.
He's like a super like wilderness expert. TikTok is so like
expansive.
Honestly, I'm on TikTok more for just the random shit that I see than the comedy, like the informational shit. Like,
it's wild.
Cooking TikTok is wild. I found this detective series on TikTok where like it'll show scenes, like it'll be like pick out the 4 details that caused the person to react like they did. And it'll usually be like, there's like this predator or something trying to get this lady, and they'll give this excuse, and it's like, find out where the inconsistencies are and what they've said to know why this is a dangerous person. It's wild.
Oh, that's kind of fucking dope. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Man. Well, hopefully our show's cooler than that. I don't know how much cooler it can be, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm just playing.
But no cap. We're much cooler than everybody alive. It's
without a doubt.
I mean, I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, we amaze and astonish. The problem is we've got a lot of brains, but no polish. We've got to holler just to be heard. With every word, we drop knowledge. We're like diamonds in the rough. We're like shining pieces of coal. Trying to reach our goal. Our power of speech unimpeachable.
Hey! Wait, was that a freestyle?
No, that's from Hamilton.
I was like, yo, what the fuck?
You were like, God damn, bro, you were going in.
What was the last word you said?
Unimpeachable.
Yeah, I was like,
no, bro. I heard that. That's the third song in Hamilton. It's my shot. He opens up the song. He's like, I'm gonna get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, I amaze and astonish. The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard. With every word I drop knowledge. I'm a diamond in the rough. I'm trying to be a goal, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech unimpeachable. He keeps going, but I won't.
Well, I guess we
That's
could
for
keep
you,
going.
Emily.
We could keep going into the episode.
Yeah, we might as well. Let's hit that. Let's roll the tape.
Click it.
Click it.
Roll it.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed and now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So let's talk some television.
Television.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of television.
Yeah, I like television too.
I watch a lot of television.
Huh. Where do you think we really realized that we both actually like music and TV? How did I don't remember that distinctly happening.
No, it was because we both knew music immediately.
Yeah,
that's what initially.
Yeah,
that's what initiated the bond that we've created.
Yeah.
Hip hop, because hip hop era. That's when that really started.
No,
What's funny is we were kind of friends when we started that.
Yeah.
We weren't even
that's
actually close. We were just we're both into journalism and we both like hip hop. Let's talk about
let's
it.
do it. It's a fun thing to do at school.
And, I mean, thankfully we did. I'm glad you're one of my best friends now.
Yeah.
It's really paid off. We've done fucking 60 episodes of this shit. This is awesome.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I know I can distinctly remember when I really got into television. But I don't know when we both kind of...
Yeah, I don't remember where I don't know. It's just kind of... I feel like it's a constant... You gotta live, breathe, and eat television.
You do.
And it's it even comes down to where if I'm having a meal by myself... And
I'm gonna watch TV.
I have to watch something. There's no matter what...
it's a meal wasted if I'm not entertaining myself while eating.
And people even... You could find me in the caf on any given day at lunchtime. Just by myself, watching something, some TV show on my phone, and it's I don't know. It's just something you gotta live with.
Oh, and bro, I'll be thankful forever that December 2014, January 2015, I discovered How I Met Your Mother.
Damn, that's way earlier than I did. I think.
And that's when I binged that was the first show I ever binged.
Really?
I binged How I Met Your Mother over winter break, freshman year.
Oh man,
of high school, and after that, it was raps. Like I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch all the TV."
All the TV. Yeah.
Like it's crazy though, because like if you look at the list of shows that I have watched, it's like it's alarming that all this has happened in 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Because like when I think about it like that, I'm like, oh shit! Every show I've ever watched has happened within the last 5 years. Not happened within the last 5 years, but I've watched it within the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah. I did not watch, like, shows continue. Like, I would catch episodes and things. And, like,
sure.
I watched a lot of, like cable TV and shit growing up.
I watched a lot. Like, the only show I can remember, like, me sticking with week to week when I was small was American Idol.
Wow. American Idol.
Yeah. American fucking Idol.
Wow. Isn't there like fucking like 30 seasons of that shit?
It's a lot of seasons. I don't know. I watched it from when I was like 8 to 10, and then that was that.
Okay. Yeah.
But today,
yeah, I'm glad we can have progressed to the critically acclaimed nature of the list, which we will be talking about.
Yes,
now.
So we wanted to do something. This is going to be a series because there's no way we could do this in one episode. We're going to talk about some of the greatest episodes of TV ever. And this is extremely biased. Obviously. This is what me and Tavares do. We do what the fuck we want. We talk about what we like.
That's it. And that's it. Nothing more to it.
Nothing more to it. So, we've got a list of 5 shows in front of us. We have picked one episode from each to talk about today. And believe me, these shows have far more episodes that are great.
Yeah.
Some that are even better than the ones we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
But these are some of the greatest episodes of television we have ever laid eyes on.
Oh, yeah. And you know when you watch these episodes, because all it takes for us to really and like this is a bit of a more extensive, I guess, segment project than the ones that we normally do. But just because, these shows have so many episodes. But it's not hard to look at the episode and be like, oh, yeah, no. When I watched that, I was like, this is a different level. This is the reason why I enjoy this show so much.
And that kind of brings me to our first show that we have on the list.
Oh, yeah.
A show which there were just several episodes where I watched it and I went, this is the greatest television show of all time.
Yeah. No.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We got to talk Game of Thrones. So, and on our list, we have several episodes of Game of Thrones available to talk about. But the one we're going to talk about today, Season 3, Episode 9, The Reigns of Castamere. And I remembered that name. I didn't have to look that up or anything. It is Season 3, Episode 9, Reigns of Castamere. And you know why it's called Reigns of Castamere? Because the song they play when they slaughter an entire family is The Reigns of Castamere.
Yeah.
For those who have not watched Game of Thrones, skip ahead a little bit. Because this was the biggest spoiler of the first 3 seasons, no doubt. Possibly of the show.
I think the Ned Stark thing first season might be
that might be a little bit,
but that's just because that's like that's like the pivotal thing of the entire show really jumps off at the end of the first season, which is wild because we made that point at the end of the first season of Breaking Bad too. Was like that show, the story doesn't really start until the end of the first season.
Well, and that's the thing is shows that are willing to expand their like get to know your characters. Mm-hmm. That's when you succeed as a television show. Because I'm thinking it's like even Mr. Robot.
Oh yeah.
Season 1 is phenomenal, and obviously there's stakes immediately, but like
nothing
compared to what they end up doing.
No, not at all.
So and that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was truly the first step into a much larger Game of Thrones.
But this episode particularly, I felt like this was probably I had I can remember having the thought because I watched. You may remember. Were we? No. I don't know. We hadn't. This was the month before we started the podcast when I watched Game of Thrones for the first time, and I blitzed
because
it.
we put out our first episode the week after the Game of Thrones finale.
Yeah. And I remember because I watched it and it was unhealthy, man. I watched all 7 seasons in 3 weeks.
You watched 70 hours of TV.
I remember my roommate fucking hated me because every time he came in the room, Game of Thrones was playing. He would go to sleep, that shit's on. He would wake up, that shit's on.
You hear nothing, Jon Snow. He wakes up. It's a fucking dragon. Just
and then I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. What's going on? And Ken's just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
if you've been with us for a while, you remember Ken.
Yeah, you do. But I remember watching this episode and being like, what just fucking this? Like, I had never witnessed any sort of thing happen on screen that was as just impactful as this episode.
Well, what's fascinating too is like what ends up happening is obviously the Red Wedding, and that overshadows everything else that happens in this episode. But another thing that's very important to remember is that the Hound was taking Arya to see her family. He was on his way to the Twins, the place they called where Walder Frey stayed, and he was going to take her there to take her to her family. They get there, and the Starks are getting massacred.
I remember that, yeah, because they were like, it was like weird leading into it because
everything felt uncomfortable. You did not know what was wrong with the situation, but you knew something was going to go fucking sideways.
Oh yeah,
and fast.
And they just like there were these small glimpses of tension that they would provide with the way that like the proceedings were being handled at the
Frey. Just the fucking nastiest motherfucker alive.
Oh yeah.
Look at her little tight body. Like, fuck you, Frey.
And at this time, you got to remember, like watching this episode on first watch, right now, your best bet for the king is Robb Stark. Everyone likes Robb Stark at this point.
Bro,
like,
I was watching this show, and after Ned, he was the main character.
I was like Robb. I was like, okay, I would really prefer Jon, but Jon's not mature enough yet. Robb is that dude.
Dude, I loved Robb Stark on my first watch, bro. And I was like, and on my first watch too, I obviously recognized the dangers of him being with the woman he married, but I was still like, fuck it, he's got to do him.
Yeah.
Second time I watched that shit, I was like, you have made the gravest mistake you could have possibly made.
I know.
You cannot marry this woman.
But like, I was looking at it too, and I was like, I'd do it.
Oh, I'd marry her in a heartbeat. I'm not, bro. She was gorgeous, and she was perfect for him. They were a lovely couple.
She was like
probably the greatest couple in all of Game of Thrones, if we're being for real.
Yeah.
Besides Ygritte and Jon Snow.
Okay, I mean that. Yeah,
that's too strong. Ygritte and Jon Snow is just too strong.
They were a great. Yeah, they were a damn good couple, man.
But I mean, and then when one of the Frey boys walks up behind her and just jabs the knife into her stomach.
That was one of the most visceral, violent scenes I've ever seen on screen.
I am better with like a slice of the throat than I am you stabbing a pregnant woman in her belly over and over.
Yeah, no, but like, I don't know how to frame it, but in the world of Game of Thrones, that's an act that's an act of brutality that makes sense in the most fucked up way possible.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
like, every action was like, every time they murdered someone, it was somewhat poetic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like whenever Jon Snow sticks the sword through the back of that dude's face up at Craster's Keep, it was because he was talking all that fucking shit. So guess what? Yeah. That sword's coming out the back of your mouth, cuz. Like, you know, it's just.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that was dope as fuck too. But not even just that. So like, the way that this whole thing gets initiated, with Bolton, wasn't it? What was the dude's name?
Which one?
He turned on the Starks. He was like, he wasn't afraid. I think his last name was Bolton.
Ramsay?
No. Yeah, his dad.
Roose Bolton. Oh, that, because he did set this up with Tywin.
Right. And, oh fuck, I forgot him and Tywin.
Yeah, Tywin is who hooked Roose up with like,
you don't
kill
learn
the
that
Starks
until episodes later, do you?
Oh, like a season later? Like, you don't learn that until like Tyrion's about to kill that man.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Which is just, the writing is exceptional for the first several seasons of Game of Thrones.
So good.
It's so fucking good. Like, we're just talking about it, and like, I have to rewatch this series.
Yeah, it's iconic. It's iconic.
It's too fucking good.
Just the way, though, like you know, we've already talked about how it was like tense leading up to it, but where everything jumps off is like crazy, because I was lost the first time I watched it, because I saw her. I just didn't put two and two together about the fact that he was wearing battle armor.
Yeah,
and when
Reigns of Castamere starts playing and stuff, and Catelyn Stark.
Catelyn, that's what I was thinking of. She folds back his arm and is like, just smacks him. Yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
What the fuck's going on?
And then those motherfuckers start going crazy with the archery bows, and I was like, oh, they did not get over it. they still care.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Oh. Yeah.
Cold ass line. Let me tell you, Tywin knew how to intimidate.
Oh yeah.
And dropping a line like that after murdering a house is just cold fucking blooded. Just pimp as fuck.
Yeah.
Tywin
absolutely.
Lannister knew what the fuck he was doing.
No, he was
lethal.
Honestly, he was like, I don't know. He's like a, I don't know, probably like a Robert E. Lee kind of guy. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Just like, fuck this guy, Jesus, but you're good at what you do.
Yeah. That's like, I like, people like that are so weird, because it's like there has to be an element of respect for the way that they do things. You're
it's
like,
the way I feel about Tom Brady.
Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, probably not a person I like that much.
Oh, certainly. I'm like, wow, Tom Brady's done really, really well on the football field, but fuck, do I hate that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I do not want to see him succeed ever. And I know he'll just keep doing it. And see, I respect that.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lannisters were about.
No, that is exactly what the Lannisters were about. They were all about just fucking getting the shit done. Nothing else to be said about it.
Man, and just this episode was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and the last thing that I remember really, like, this is the thing that I watched, and like, this was one of the few episodes in my life where I was just kind of like,
it ends and you just sit there.
You just sit there. Mouth might be open. You're just like,
just mouth agape. The credits are rolling, and you haven't moved.
I was like, but
and this is the show that did that, like, multiple times.
I think that's what makes it.
And that is, like, I think there's like 4 of those episodes on this list that we have here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm thinking, like, the last shot in this episode sticks with me. It is absolutely haunting. The way Catelyn says, "You kill my son, I kill your wife."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because she's ruthless. Like, you can tell in her the way she says it. It's like,
she means that shit.
Her son is already fucking dead. Like, she's like, or no, what was it? What was it? She was saying, "Don't kill Rob." That's what.
Yeah, don't kill Rob.
She was saying, "Don't kill Rob. Kill me instead, or I'll kill your daughter."
Yeah, I think it was his wife.
Oh, it was his.
And it was like a really weird young.
It looked like his daughter.
It looked like his daughter. It was his wife though, and because he was like, "I'll get another." Like, and then they kill Rob, and she lets out that visceral scream.
Yeah,
cuts her throat, stands there still screaming, and then like, and then another Frey walks up, cuts her throat. She falls to the ground, and the camera stays there, where she was standing
until she just falls out.
She falls out of the frame, and then after she's gone, it stays there for another second.
Yeah,
and you're just like, and that's really what sits with. It's like there's no music playing.
Oh yeah,
it's just
the pacing was crazy. Like because they before between the scream and Catelyn being murdered, like there is a pause, like where it just emphasizes like how visceral her scream is, and she's just like standing there for a second, just like she's contemplating like, what the like you're just,
what do I even do now?
Lost literally
everything.
Like, oh man, I feel, man. If there was one character who I wish did make it all the way through the show, it was Catelyn Stark. Like, even over Ned Stark, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
You really?
Catelyn's
bold.
a better person than Ned was.
110% disagree with that.
What?
Oh my God, Catelyn Stark tortured Jon Snow as a baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, but that was like a personal thing.
Well, don't get me like no. And here's the thing: is that like I think what the show like as a whole proved is that Ned Stark was the best fucking person in the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah,
it was like, and I mean like not the smartest, but certainly the most honorable.
Yeah,
like
okay,
he
fair.
did things by the code, and he even took the fall for having a bastard child when that kid was actually the fucking heir to the throne.
Yeah, no, he was very honorable, but like I think that's kind of like sticking to the code. I feel like Catelyn did not stick to the code.
No, she was about
Like,
that action.
After she's like after Ned dies.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I 100% wish she could have made it further.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
She was
Ned,
just
Ned
about
is something else.
She was something else too, though. She was about that action.
Oh.
She wasn't like, and Ned was about that action too, but like it wasn't expected of Catelyn to be about that action.
Oh no. No, it was not. I remember like watching her like trying to get like robbed like to like win the throne and shit, and I was like, yo, she's like the best advisor of anyone in fucking King's Landing. Like,
Yo,
what the hell are they
she
doing?
she knew what she was on.
Yeah.
And just a shame that like 2 Starks die here.
2.
After because all that's left after this is Sansa, Arya, Bran, Rickon, and Jon, and then 3 of them make it out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Starks are a tragic story.
They are for sure. I'm thinking about it now, and it's like the only other Stark brother that dies is Rickon after that, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, they went through enough, though, I feel like.
Oh, certainly. Don't get me wrong. Their dad got his head chopped off for being a traitor.
They were separated until like season 4 or 5, weren't they?
Season 6.
What?
I think Jon Snow shows up.
Jon and Sansa are the first ones who
back
meet
to
after
Winterfell.
King's Landing.
Yeah. Because did Sansa, Brienne of Tarth brought Sansa to
Brienne of Tarth.
No. The Night's Watch. He got killed in the season 5 finale.
Okay.
He went back home after in season 6.
Okay.
So that's when he went back and saw Sansa. Season 6. And Arya doesn't come back till season 6.
7. I thought that was
Oh yeah, Arya's like the first episode of season 7. And because the first episode of season 7, bro, when she gets payback for the Red Wedding.
Oh man,
she comes up and she's she cooked this man's sons into pie and then fed it to him.
Oh man. That was like you had waited such a long time for something to happen to that man, and they would show Walder for every so often. You're like, fuck, that guy's still alive. All the people who have died, and Walder fucking Frey survives.
Well, that's what's crazy too, is at the end of season 6, I remember on my rewatch, because like you put so much more together when you rewatch the show, because there is just so much fucking much content.
Yeah,
like you said, 70 hours in 7 seasons. Now there's like almost 80, and it's like. That's so much television. So when I rewatched, I was like, I forgot this part even happened. Yeah. And it's massive. Like, it's a huge part of the story.
Yeah.
Like, how... Because, like, Walder Frey's talking to, like, Jaime Lannister at the end of season 6. And he's like, the Lannisters and Freys.
The
2 pillars of the 7 kingdoms.
Yeah,
and you're like, fuck you, Frey. Nobody gives a shit about you.
Jaime Lannister, man, he was an interesting cat.
That's a complicated cat there.
Complicated, man. Because I was pretty sure I would always hate this man after season 1, and then by the end of the show, I'm like,
well, what's crazy is that like he's terrible season 1, absolutely fucking awful season 1. Then season 2, he meets Brienne, and you're kind of like, there's clearly a rapport here. He's not a terrible guy. Season 3 comes around, and I think he's back in King's Landing with a golden hand. And he's training.
Oh, he gets that happens season 2?
Yeah, that happens early on.
Wow.
And then season 4, Joffrey dies, and what does he do? To his sister?
Yeah.
On their son's dead body, basically?
Yeah.
He rapes her, and like after that, I was like, I'm out on Jaime Lannister. Like he can't be redeemed.
That was probably one of the most problematic scenes in Game of Thrones. Period. Like, just like there were a lot of scenes that happened that I just did not want to watch.
Yo, that makes me straight up
I think
throw
I actually
up. It
skipped
makes
that
me
one.
vomit.
Like if I
I skip it.
I think I started and I was like, "Are they? I'm gonna. I need to get out of here."
Yeah, it's rough because it's brutal. Like it's like
yeah, just like thinking about the content.
And then of course, Jamie in the end goes back to Cersei. Just fuck that guy.
Fuck
that guy forever. I don't care. He could have redeemed himself and he didn't.
Yeah.
Just fuck you.
Yeah, that's true.
I like the guy who plays him though. I like Nikolaj Coster-Waldau.
He was a good actor.
He definitely played Jaime Lannister very well. But season 3, episode 9, The Reigns of Castamere, The Red Wedding, just heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching. Yeah, no, that was sticks with me to this day.
Shall we move on to the next show?
I believe so.
We got 5 of these hoes, guys. Be ready. We got Breaking Bad. Another just undeniably great show.
What else can you say about it?
And we got 3 shows on here on this list that I'd say everyone goes, yeah, that's a top 5 show of all time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of the point of why we did this, because, we want to bring interesting content, but also we pride ourselves on looking at least through some sort of critical lens at these shows. And, if there are people out there giving awards with way more experience in this realm than us saying these are the shows to watch, once we go watch them, you start to really understand why people say these are the shows to watch.
Oh, it's... And I'm so glad that I've watched these shows. Like I can't tell you how happy I am that I've watched. It's so funny
because
Bad.
What's funny also about how these shows have happened, it's almost so Westworld you recommended to me, which I then watched, and then we then talked about Game of Thrones, the same thing. And then I think I recommended Breaking Bad to you.
Yeah. Because you were halfway through Breaking Bad, and I was like, fuck it, I'll catch up.
I remember you caught up, and I was like, fuck. Sherlock, I think, I can't remember.
I can't remember who did who there.
Yeah.
But maybe that was when we happened upon it around the same time.
Maybe, yeah. And then I recommended
you put me on
Mr.
Robot, no doubt.
And then I think you had seen House of Cards.
Yeah.
I think we had both seen
you're a
House of
bigger
Cards.
fan of House of Cards than I am, though.
And then Rick and Morty, Sopranos, that worked the same way. And
Sopranos worked the same way as Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it did. And then you put me on Euphoria. It's just these were the shows that we were like,
man, these really have been this is like a timeline through our friendship.
Damn, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either, but it's weird that those are the shows we've landed on because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But so Breaking Bad, season 4, episode 13. Just a great one.
Just a great one. Yeah. No, it's one of the. I feel like it captures really well the ethics of all of the characters involved, and they're all big characters in this episode. You got the damn it, what's the dude's name? Gus's assistant. Mike.
Oh shit,
Mike.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike.
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Is that his last name?
The badass?
Is that his last name in the show?
Yeah, Mike Ehrmantraut, yeah.
Do they ever say that?
I think so. I think Saul Goodman says it.
That doesn't sound...
I mean, I had to have gotten it from somewhere.
Why the fuck did they name
it? I know I didn't just make it up.
I feel like they could have gave him a cool name, Mike Black or some shit. I don't know.
Mike Jones. It's Mike.
Mike Jones.
It's Mike. Michael Jones.
But...
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Mike is in there. Jesse, obviously, Walter, Gus.
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 Gus. Gus dies.
Yeah, Saul.
We got the dude in the wheelchair back.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we got him back.
Because he's pretty pivotal in the murder of Gus.
Very, very pivotal. But even Saul's there's a really interesting scene with when Walter's trying to find Saul in this episode. But it gives a good display, I think, of what all of these characters are about, throughout.
Oh, and I can certainly speak to this in terms of Gus.
Mm-hmm.
Gus goes into that hospital with all the confidence in the fucking world.
Oh, yeah, Gus is still... you watching this episode, I had no doubt, and I remember that's why this, scene stuck with me so much, because I you know how Breaking Bad does things. They'll give you the pieces, but they won't put it all together.
They won't tell you exactly what's going to happen.
And I thought Gus was going to be the next episode. Like,
yeah,
honestly,
I thought it was going to
he
be. We're going to finish season 5. This is going to be the big bad.
I'd given up on Gus dying. I was like, "There's just
you cannot kill this guy.
You cannot kill this guy. It's too hard. He's too fucking. I don't know. What is Gus? He has some severe mental imbalance. I feel like, but he's so normal that it's hard to point it out.
Oh, he's a sociopath. He's an absolute sociopath. Because he's a fucking murderous cartel leader.
Yeah,
who is calm, cool, and collected all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are calm, cool, and collected all the time, and you murder a lot of people, guess what? You're a sociopath.
You're a sociopath. Yeah. Gus is just that guy through the whole show, and like they make a point of being like he is untouchable, he is impenetrable,
and the only way they can get this man is if they get him when he's not. How could you possibly blow a man up in a nursing home?
Yeah, and honestly, there's a couple scenes in this episode. I guess for background, like we're kind of starting at the end. I'm
kind of jumping into the big moments.
Yeah, the big moment when he's in the retirement care place.
I'm guessing that's a nursing home.
Nursing home. Visiting Tuco's father or grandfather.
I think grandfather.
To kill him because Tuco he had just spoken to the FBI or the DEA that day, I think.
Mm-hmm. That he'd had his boy look into him.
Yeah, and so he was cleaning out. Gus was doing Gus. He was like, "Oh, okay,
I got to kill this guy.
I heard you had a meeting. I don't really care what it was about. Are you ready to die?" So that's kind of what it was, all business. And he sends his dude in there like 2 or 3 times before to check out the place and like see if there's anything. And like just like super secure. He has him check the place, come outside, calls Gus. Gus gets there with a different dude, tells him to go inside again and check. And then he goes in. And I was just like, bro, how would you ever get anything over? And I think the fact that this attempt on Gus's life was like freestyled essentially is the reason it was successful. I think if they planned it, they would have failed.
And that's kind of what Walt does the whole fucking time. Mm-hmm. He just kind of stumbles into situations and is like, oh shit, now I'm the biggest meth kingpin in all of America.
Yeah, which is a wild thing because I remember I wanted to watch this show because I'm like, so this old man is like a drug lord.
Oh, and he is faking it till he makes it the entire time.
He makes it. That man makes it too. Like this man is like.
Oh no, he's that fucking guy. We're talking international meth dealing.
Yes,
we're going Czech Republic with this meth. Isn't that what they did? Czech? Wasn't it the Czech Republic or something like that?
There's some foreign country. I didn't really understand that storyline too much. It felt kind of.
It was just to show how much greedier Walt's getting.
Yeah.
It's just that like this millions of dollars operation they've got going in the States just isn't enough.
Just isn't quite enough for him anymore. I don't know. Walter was he broke bad. Like
that's the name of the show.
He broke bad. Like, and you're kind of meant to expect that, but I still wanted to root for Walt.
And the first time that I did watch it, it didn't fully sink in with me that like by the end of the series, Walt's a fucking bad guy. No. And I obviously, like, the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, I don't really like this guy, but he is the protagonist, so I'll roll with it. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, season 3, like, beginning of season 3, I'm like, yo, it is fuck Walt.
Yeah,
this guy is a dick.
He is. I remember thinking, too, like, watching the first episode, like, how does this happen? How does this guy become even... like tangentially involved with drugs?
Yeah.
What is going on
chemist,
to make
bro.
that happen? Yeah, he's a chemist, and that's what's crazy. Is like, can all chemists do this?
Sorry, I just got a notification on my phone from Twitter. Snoop Dogg emerges as winner of the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight. Wildly true. That fight was terrible.
That is true. Who tweeted that? I'm going to go like it.
It was Twitter news for you. Like Twitter, that was a headline they were providing me. Snoop Dogg emerges as winner.
So they were everyone watched this and they're like, what do we even say?
Everyone
about this?
Who watched this was like, Snoop Dogg won.
Yeah.
We watched it and we were like, this is going to be the best part of the night.
We'll do the segment on that in this episode.
Maybe, I don't know. Fuck it.
You might get a segment.
That might
on
be
it.
all we have to say about
You might
it.
not. You might not get a segment on it. Who knows? But it sounds fun at the moment, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Anyways, season 4, episode 13. The way
it's called Face Off, by the way.
Face Off. Oh, you get it.
I do get it.
Yeah, you get it.
Because spoiler alert, when he gets blown the fuck up and he walks out of the room in which he was just blown the fuck up, Gus, half of his face is off.
Face off.
Face off. He looks like Two-Face from fucking The Dark Knight.
Yeah, no, he really does. That's actually stunning, similar. And the way that he comes out.
Oh, he comes out still Gus as fuck.
He's sitting down. Well, he stands up at right when he realizes what's happening, when he's like ringing the bell, and he screams. He goes, he like stands up really quick, goes, massive explosion.
Oh, blows this
then
entire room out.
Just strolls out of the room.
Adjusts his tie, takes off his. I think he took off his glasses. And I think he put them in his pocket or something.
Put him in his pocket,
and then you get that full frontal view of his face, and you're like,
oh. And you can see the nurse running up.
Oh, the nurses running up are horrified.
They're
looking
like,
at him.
What in the hell? And then this dude is just standing there with half a face.
Adjusts his tie and then just
dies. Because, he had half a face.
The point I was making earlier was that this is the only way you get Gus.
Oh, yeah.
In a way that no one could ever anticipate. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to you about this before. Do you mind if I spoil something from The Wire?
Oh, yeah, no, sure.
There's this character in it called Omar Little. Coolest motherfucker in the show. Mm-hmm. Easily. One of my favorite characters of all time in any television series. This man was unkillable. You could not get this man. Like, he would whisper, or he would whistle a song when he came down the street, and like kids would run and be like, Omar coming. Oh, you know in How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
When Lily does that like thing where she's walking down the street whistling, it's a reference to The Wire. And they're like, Lily coming. Okay, it's a reference to The Wire.
Why is How I Met Your Mother making Wire references?
Yo, that show makes a lot of references to a lot of stuff. Just like, in general scenes. Like, it's not even like overt. Like, they're just kind of like replicating scenarios, and you're kind of like, oh, like you have to really, really pay attention to get it. And you're like, no shit. Because I watched How I Met Your Mother before The Wire, obviously. When I saw it in The Wire, they're like, Omar coming. I was like, oh shit. So, of course. But this man was unkillable. You could not touch this guy. And you know who gets him? He goes into a gas station, and he's getting some cigarettes at the counter, and then pop! Gets shot in the head. You pan over, it's a little fucking kid. Only way you're gonna get this man is he watched this little kid come in the store, because
and
he's not threatened by a little kid. He's Omar fucking Little.
Yeah.
And that's how Gus Fring walked into the situation. He's like, I'm in a nursing home. Fuck it. We're good.
Elderly dude who, like,
and he did more vetting than Omar did. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And still, like, I just feel like that really speaks to what the lengths to which like Walter breaks bad, because that episode is a scurry of him rushing from place to place, trying to figure out a way to kill this guy. Yeah, because they had a plan. They had a very laid out plan, and it just fell apart to the point where this man brings a bomb into a hospital. A live bomb into a hospital.
You're on some fuck shit, bro.
In a diaper bag, and he's like not doing anything.
And the first time that's a really good example of something. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh shit, is he gonna pull it off?" The second time I watched it, I go, "This man has a fucking bomb in a hospital. Yeah, somebody arrest this fucking guy."
Yeah, no, literally, and even still, cops walk up while they're in the hospital while Walt's holding a bomb next to Jesse. And like they're obviously investigating they called it the Brock's the situation that happened with Brock and stuff. That's what they wanted to talk to him about, but they were like clearly like they know who Jesse Pinkman is, and they probably, I think at this point,
Jesse Pinkman gets like kind of got way earlier in the series than I thought.
Yeah,
like season 2, this man's getting investigated for having some sort of connection to a meth kingpin, and you're like, How does it take so long to get to Walt?
Yeah, he's just sitting right there. Why is this
Hank
dude's chemistry teacher from high school with him?
Hank is not good at his job.
I know.
That's the bottom.
But like that's
he's Detective Jim Gordon. He's Detective Jim Gordon.
How could he have guessed Walt? Like, let's be honest. That's a like think about
it. Like that's one that's just so obvious. Like not obvious. It's like that's my fucking brother-in-law.
Yeah,
There's no way me, a DEA agent, wouldn't recognize that my brother-in-law is the largest meth kingpin in.
That's true.
In all of America, and like that's got to be as far as he thought. Like,
yeah,
it can't because when he does put the dots together, you're like, about fucking time, bro.
Fucking time, like goddamn. But yeah, and so Walt's just scurrying around doing what he does, and he gets to there was a cool kind of like I don't know, just like Detective Walt scene where he pops up at his house. And do you remember that? Like,
yeah,
he knows the dudes are in there, and like I remember like being like, I feel like he's being a little skeptical. And then what do you know? But two random looking dudes walking around his house, like looking for him, and he's like, fuck. So he does this whole thing, calls the neighbor over, goes in, creeps the dudes out. They leave. He goes in. They come back in. He avoids them, gets what he needs, gets out. He was just like straight up like smooth as hell with all of that, but at the same time ungraceful as fuck.
And like he's like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
It's like he just lucks into like, hitting someone in the face. Like it's like, how did you do that?
Kitten started saying this thing recently. Is like, hey, my methods might not be graceful, but they get the job done.
Yeah, and like,
and I was like, honestly, that's yeah, I can.
There's something to.
There's something to that. Yeah, I can understand. Just being like, just gonna do what I can to get it done, and that's what Walt does, and that's like. Kind of the state of his character throughout the show is always on edge, even in moments where as the viewer we're like, okay, Walter, like you said you needed to make this much money, right? You have well surpassed that. Right now you just need to be focused on getting out. Like it should be a lot less stressful than he makes it out to be on an episode to episode basis. He's always like, this is so important, like this is the thing.
And like no, I know we're not talking about this episode, but no episode exemplifies that more than The fucking Fly.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
literally.
And we'll talk about it. And we have talked about it. We've done a whole episode breakdown of it before, previously.
Okay, did we
didn't end up putting it on this list. I think because of that,
okay.
we've already done a full scene by scene discussion of it. But he's always just falling face first onto the ground, and then he just keeps getting up, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Stay down.
Just stay. And there were moments
take your money
late in the show.
Run.
There were moments late in the show where he was given, I can't remember the specific circumstances, but he was given ways out. And he still was like, I'm a G. I'm the go to this shit. I gotta come back and reclaim my title.
And he legitimately goes, "No, I'm Heisenberg."
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
Like that's like, no, I can't get out of this shit. I'm Heisenberg. And you're like, okay, well he's lost it. And the first time I watched it, that's when I went, okay, that's that for me.
And what's interesting is like taking this discussion of Walter's character and looking at that in the shadow of Tony Soprano's character.
Want to move on to The Sopranos then?
I think so.
So our next one's The Sopranos. Immediately getting the 3 of the greatest TV shows of all time here.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Sopranos. And like, undeniably, these are shows people regard as the greatest shows of all time. Yeah. And Sopranos widely viewed as the greatest show of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only finished 4 seasons of it, and I'm about ready to say yeah.
No, I'm
like,
already.
You're absolutely fucking right.
Yeah, I already want to just like, I'm like, there is a nuance to The Sopranos that it did not exist before The Sopranos, which is why Breaking Bad is the show that it is.
The style of and HBO, they didn't do shows before The Sopranos.
Oh, really?
The Sopranos is the first hour-long cable drama that hit the air,
wow, yeah.
And they wrecked. They were the biggest show on earth.
Yeah. They realized people wanted to watch a movie every week.
And boy, did they. The Sopranos is fucking phenomenal. So the episode that we are talking about for this one is Season 2, Episode 13. That's the Season 2 finale.
Yeah.
And This one will fuck you up. It fucked me up.
No, it will, and I was not prepared at all. And like this is
it's called Funhouse, by the way.
The end of the second season. So I can't remember if I think there had been a couple one-off sort of episodes that the Sopranos did, because they would do episodes every so often that were they were like The Fly. They were like just like kind of like they would be their own isolated thing.
And this was kind of that.
And this was that for most of the episode until the end, really.
Until the back half, yeah.
Yeah, until the back half. But I remember, I've seen a couple of the Sopranos episodes like that, and every time I'm like, this is like a nice reprieve from just like the normal trudge of the plot, you know, like it's
because like I'd argue that John Favreau episode is one of those too.
Oh yeah,
where you kind
of
and because they'll have those episodes every once in a while where you'll just like you'll focus on one character and you're with them for the whole time, and it's like forget everything else you've been watching and paying attention to. Just take a load off, focus on Christopher Moltisanti doing his fucking thing.
Yeah. But this episode in particular, this season finale, right? Season
finale of season 2 titled Funhouse.
And this really brings home, like the major conflict over the first 2 seasons, I feel like, or the most major one for me, because like, I feel like The Sopranos is really weird about how it lays out its conflicts. They're not.
Well, that's what's interesting is there's not, in most shows we can point to and go, there's a big bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Sopranos is just kind of like everybody's the big bad.
Everybody.
Like you got to keep your head on a fucking swivel.
It's
like,
about the Sopranos.
You never know who might fuck you over.
Right. Yeah. No, literally. And there's so many different ways that happens. But possibly the worst way is one of the people of your inner circle, like literally a made man in the family,
like on the verge of being a captain.
Literally. Oh shit!
Like because that's how.
Wasn't there a scene in there?
There's
where
a scene in this episode where it's like you passed me over for captain. You knew that I was a snitch, and so Big Pussy. Mm-hmm. That's who. Big Pussy was a fucking rat.
Yeah, he was, and
but
you
rat
hated it because
is a fucking rat. Period.
That's it. But like I remember it was such it like fucked with me because I was like, man, Pussy's such a good dude. Like he was easily the best dude of Tony's inner circle. Like he was the most, I don't know, like reasonable.
Human.
Yeah, human.
Yeah,
and he would still do some fucked up shit.
Oh, he was a super just asshole to his wife. Just terrible to her.
Yeah.
But I mean, all of them were fucking terrible to everybody. Like that's kind of part of the point about
particularly women.
Like, especially women. They were sexist as fuck. It was like, yo, we don't even eat pussy here. don't even think about it.
Oh, you remember that episode with Junior?
With Junior. That's what I'm talking. Like he ends a 15-year relationship because this woman told someone at her salon that Junior ate her pussy.
I don't even. Like, this man was about ready to kill her. Like,
no, he was ready.
He was about ready to kill her because of what it was going to make him look like. And I was just like, man, like, this is some fragile masculinity.
And that's what the whole show is, bro.
I know, literally. Like, it's like in there, like, oh, I'm the big bad. It's like them trying to maintain their status as men, like, only reveals why the women are usually more cunning and just like respectable in general.
That's the thing about these. Like, this is a great portrayal of just like mob guys.
Oh yeah,
because they're terrible people. But what's crazy about this show is that more so than like with Breaking Bad, I root for Tony Soprano.
I root for Tony.
I ride for Tony Soprano, bro.
I hope the Sopranos of any of the families, do well. And
absolutely.
Even in light of everything they've done, like you're just like, and that's why there is.
That's the thing. That's what's so important in the distinction between Walter White and Tony Soprano is that Walter White didn't have loyalties. It was just like, I am going to make this money.
Well,
and Tony's about
his
that.
His loyalties were material. Like he was trying to show loyalty to his family by doing what he was as Heisenberg,
but
not realizing
it proved
he was doing the worst thing possible for his family by not being there while also dying of cancer. But and then Tony Soprano, of course, on the other hand, I feel like he which is a weird thing. He's even more intentional about the shit that he does. Like it affects him more deeply than it does Walter White when Walter White has to do something like blow up a building.
It's like when Walter White has to do it, it's like because it's necessary. This is something I need to do. When Tony Soprano has to go light Artie Bucco's restaurant on fire, he's no questions about it, and there's probably other ways he could have done it, but he's remorseful about that.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't like that he had to do that. I mean, he's a dumbass, and he went the completely wrong way about it.
Yeah.
But like. He feels bad about it, and that's something that's big for me in terms of Tony Soprano's character, is that like it's so obvious he does not want to be the guy that he is.
Oh yeah,
like he knows he's a piece of shit, and he knows he's the worst.
But it's just the cards
and he's
given.
just like,
and that's kind of a big theme is like he's just kind of like, well, this is what my dad did. This is what I always saw. This is what I knew. This is like what I was told to valorize, and he's realizing that it's caused him to shut off so many parts of himself that just make him fucking tolerable to be around. And he knows that he's intolerable to be around, but like he continues to act in certain ways because
I'm pretty sure one of the dreams he has, maybe even in this episode, it's him in his therapist's office, and she says, "I'm extremely attracted to you, Tony," and he's like, "No, you're not. You're disgusted by me," and like. You know, like he's like, and I know that.
Yeah. And
he's like, no, it's even worse. It's one of those times where I know that I'm dreaming, and I can't get out of it.
I can't get out of it. But just think about like the context of like Walter White having to. There was I feel like at some point in the show, Walter resolved to kill Jesse.
Yes.
And obviously that didn't end up happening, but
it did not.
Walter did not have the same sort of tribulations coming up to the decision to kill Jesse that Tony does, and this man is having fever dreams about having to kill Pussy.
Yeah, like it's because this entire time he's been in denial about it, and these fever dreams reveal to him like, you've been in denial. You need to accept this guy's a rat.
Right.
Really look into this, really, because it won't take long. You'll figure it out.
No, and that's just the
because like even the dream where like Big Pussy appears as the fish, and he's like, you know I'm the rat, Tony.
You know I'm the rat.
You passed me over for captain. You know, you know, and he's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah. And it's like he doesn't even want to talk, even on the boat. At the end of this episode, that was like a powerful scene, like. Because like it's like they knew what they had to do. He knew what was going to happen,
and he gathers them around for like Pussy. Asks them for a drink. And he's like, "Let me tell you about this broad down in Puerto Rico." And he tells them the story, and the entire time you're just looking at Tony, Paulie, and Silvio, and they're just like disgusted by him. And Tony goes, "She even real?"
Yeah.
Like there's not a thing I can trust that comes out of your fucking mouth anymore.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, you at least." Let me sit. Don't shoot me in the face. And he keeps trying to talk, and Tony's like, no. He's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, but it was something that it fucked with all of them. Like when I think it was Paulie. Was it? No, it was
Silvio went up.
Silvio went upstairs, up the like, and was just like, he's like, come on, like we gotta like, are you good? And he's, yeah, I'm fine. But like none of them were fine. None of them were fine about that. And like, understandably so, which is
none of them should be fine. Like that's like they just had to kill their best friend
since
childhood,
like kids, like they have experienced crazy heights in the world being mob men, and this is what it amounts to.
They had to kill their boy, and it's just
such.
And the dreams leading up to the reveal, like not the reveal, but the moment they kill Pussy is like just immaculate. Just no show does dream sequences as well as The Sopranos does.
At first, I was like, why? Like this does not feel like the sort of genre type that would have dream sequences as much as Sopranos did, but.
Oh, it's just because it's so much more cerebral than it lets on.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's the point of it.
I think that's the point of the therapy sessions, too.
Oh, 100%.
Like, they get to some stuff.
That shit'll make you think.
It will.
About your life. I'm not a mob man, and this shit'll make me think about my life.
After watching The Sopranos, I feel like every person on earth should have a therapist. Like, therapy should be a mandated part of maybe public education or something, or just like it should be something offered to, because like therapy is framed as like this thing to for people with exceptionally bad mental.
It should just
states.
be everybody. Everybody should go to therapy.
Yeah, it's just there's a level of understanding I think that therapists have on some shit where you're like, man, I needed somebody to tell me that. And Tony recognized that's why he goes back. That's why he continually goes back. Like,
And what's even more interesting than Tony continually going back is his therapist continually accepting him back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like in that it does strike an interesting balance there. Like, as the therapist, you probably don't want to do that to a patient. You don't want to leave them stranded like that.
They don't, and that was a big issue when she had to like fall off the grid.
Yeah.
Because she was like, you remember when she was like a patient of mine committed suicide because I wasn't there, and like she's like she takes her job very seriously, and that's what's crazy about it is like nobody thinks about therapists as having people's lives in their hands, but not only that, but like a lot of people's lives. Every person who they talk to regularly as a therapist.
You're entrusting someone entirely with your mental health. Or not like entirely with your mental health, but like...
Well, a lot of people think about it that way. A lot of people think about therapy as being, my therapist
like, you're
has
my
all
person
the
to lean on.
And like therapists, like, obviously would not say that that's the nature
case,
of the role.
They'll be like, well, I'm trying to help you. I'm not... Yeah. You can't just put it on me to control your mental health. Like, that's not fair.
Right. But it's very easy as a person who's dealing with mental problems to be like, well, here's this one person who I know will listen, who I know will give me thoughtful feedback, and who I know, like, at least will try to understand me. Yeah.
And that's really what Tony's... When you put it like that, that's exactly what Tony's looking for, is someone that... Someone that he can talk to about everything without, fear of...
I heard some shit goes down with Carmela and Tony later on, but like that's honestly one of the reasons why I feel like they've stuck together is because like even though they're both like,
they've got to get a divorce, bro.
Yeah, no, they're a terrible couple, like terrible. But Tony and Carmela, I feel like have this level of acknowledgement for each other and like who they are.
Yeah, it's an extremely toxic relationship.
It's an extremely toxic acknowledgement, of course. Yeah, but. She's I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is that
his relationship to Tony's relationship with women is always very one-sided. It's
he's a very selfish man.
Yeah, definitely.
And what's interesting about their relationship, especially, is that it's like what ultimately is going to run out is her tolerance for Tony's behavior overall. Before he runs out of things to give her. Because that's, I mean, like, let's be real. Carmela was, like, really, really into the materials.
Oh, yeah.
She loved the house. She loved all the clothes.
When she got that fur coat?
The fur coat. That's in this episode, isn't it?
Oh, shit. It was. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, no, she loved it.
Because they're about to get it on, and he's like, oh, no. I'm going to be... I've never been so fucking depressed in my life. Wait, it's not my head. It's my fucking stomach.
The way that like Tony like realizes things.
I've never been so fucking depressed in my life. It's just like his stomach hurt.
He's like, this is what depression feels like. Oh wait, no.
And Carmela, she's like trying to comfort him. She's like, yeah, you've always been prone to depression, honey. You know,
your mommy.
Yeah, and he's like, "That's not gonna fucking help me right now."
Yeah, they're. I still don't completely understand them, but yeah, The Sopranos and Breaking Bad. Those are two shows that I think that like just go like they go together in terms of the analysis that we do. Like,
100%, and there is no Breaking Bad without The Sopranos.
Yeah,
like
not at all.
No chance. There's not a lot of cable drama without The Sopranos. Like it set it off, you know.
Oh yeah, no. This was like everyone says that like this was the show that like showed people, one, what it meant to have an anti-hero as the protagonist, and two, what it meant to just kind of follow like the mundane life of someone.
And what's so fascinating too is that like with this anti-hero as the protagonist, everything's backwards. Like your expectations of your characters are backwards. Like, cause if he doesn't kill pussy, then he's a bitch. What's he doing? You are fucking up.
Yeah, it was
it's
the
no
right
doubt,
decision,
no
but
doubt you have to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Like in the context of the show, you have to murder this man.
So many decisions that you make as a mob boss are decisions that you simply have. Well, honestly, I'm just realizing this about leadership in general. Like,
It's just you're like, fuck, I have to do this. I guess
as deep as like fucking being like, I realized I didn't want to be ever be a president of my fraternity because I was like, there's just a lot of shit that you have to be like if something happens, you have to react in this way, or else you've done it wrong. And like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, it's like I want to react the way I want to react.
Yeah, I just want to not care if I choose to.
I can't do that if I'm leading.
No, yeah.
Because then other people are counting on me, and I can be like, everybody, don't give a fuck.
And they're going to be like,
everybody, please stop caring.
They're going to be like, that's definitely not the thing that we're supposed to do. And you're going to be like, yeah, I don't care. You want to move on to Euphoria, though?
Let's do it.
Euphoria. Shook Ones, Part 2.
Bro, this show, I love it. I just love it so fucking much. It's such a moment in time for me, too, distilled. This... Because it was at the beginning of our podcast, so it does have this certain nostalgia to it that I really appreciate about it now, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the visuals, especially here at the carnival. They used a lot, like, they used that carnival shot of Rue standing in front of the Ferris wheel to, like, promote Euphoria a lot.
When that zoomed in on that, like, I remember, like, I think I remember saying words during this part, but I don't think anyone was in the room with me. But like, I remember them zooming in and be like, "It's the shot, that's the shot."
Well,
Like,
it's that
it's
fucking It's the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's holding the drink in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and he points at the screen like, "Yes."
Literally, like it's like the Euphoria shot in that episode.
Oh, 100%. It's like that and the shot from the first episode where her and Jules are looking at each other all drugged out in like the pink and purple light.
And all the girls do their like eyeshadow and shit like she had in that scene.
God, it's just... And I love the glitter, bro.
Oh,
I love the glitter. I'm not even gonna... I'll rock some glitter, bro. I have rocked some glitter. I went to a party, like a rave theme party, like beginning of this year, I guess, or...
Wait.
Would that have been last?
You went to a rave?
Not a rave.
Okay.
I didn't go to an actual rave. I would like to go to an actual rave just to see what it's all about. Just like for the one-time experience, you know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to like continuously go to raves.
I can't see you enjoying raves. I can hardly see myself.
Oh,
enjoying
bro,
raves.
I would fucking despise a rave. I mean, depending on like the state of mind. But
fair.
But if I'm just like me at a rave, fuck that. But like, you know, we're wearing neon clothes and stuff. I was wearing a shirt with a big marijuana leaf on it. It says Los Angeles, California across the top. Super cool. But then I also had glitter all over my fucking face. Like looking like tears, like from Euphoria. And I was like, this is fucking dope. I would wear this all the time if I could. And I just love it. But yeah. And so let's talk about this episode a little bit. Season 1, episode 4, The Shook Ones. Is it The Shook Ones Part 2?
Yeah.
And there's no Part 1.
It's the title of the song.
It's the title of the song by Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
Just another one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time. I know we were talking about Nothing But a G thing earlier.
Also,
mic.
You know that song, New Generation? It's a new generation.
Yeah.
Did we... I know I have that on a playlist on my phone, but I don't remember getting it from Euphoria, but that song is in this episode.
I think you're right.
Like... I don't remember ever. I don't think we either of us ever picked up on that song.
I don't think we did either. We must have,
because I'm still like that song I sent you the other day from Euphoria. Like I'm still finding songs that weren't on the official soundtrack that were in the show.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and we're talking about Euphoria, so I'm gonna talk about it. The Euphoria soundtrack.
What can we, like? There's never not a time to talk about.
I listened to it 2 days ago. Like that's. I'm going out of my way to listen to that at least once every couple weeks. Like, I'm listening to that all the fucking time. It's just so and this isn't on the Euphoria soundtrack, but it's another Labyrinth song, the Mount Everest song from episode 2, I think.
Oh, I mean, it might as well be on the Euphoria soundtrack. It's in Euphoria.
It's in Euphoria.
Yeah.
It's in episode 2. But I mean, god damn.
Yeah, no,
what a fucking artist.
That's the song that I've come to play the most, actually, from all of the Euphoria songs that I have. Yeah, actually, that one and Dead Yet. You remember Dead Yet?
Yes.
Yeah, no, those were amazing. But the music in this episode was stellar as well too, because I like.
Well, they got the carnival vibes in this one. You got that. I think they have like the Euphoria Fun Fair is like the name of the song on the soundtrack, and it's they've really got the da 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 like vibe to it, and you're like, it's.
It looks like honestly, like, I don't know, like it was a pretty. To frame Euphoria and everything that you watch regarding Euphoria, you cannot take it as being a literal representation of kids in high school. That's not what it is.
No,
not at all. This is
it's
far
kind
too
of
dramatic.
It's a microcosm of every possible issue high schoolers could have into one high schooler.
Yeah.
So it's like any given high school might have one of these problems.
Right. Yeah.
Let alone all of these things happening at the same time.
At the same time. And but also a part of the value, I think, of the I guess just entertainment value of the show and how it's set up is how it goes from like even from I don't know how to describe the camera shot and how it happens, but like it'll pan over directly from like the chili booth or something over to Rue and Jules, and you're witnessing like the
all these things are
of
happening
two
here at
different
the same time.
Separate storylines. Like,
yeah.
It's like these were like they are not related at all, but they've just hit that point of axis where they are now related for the moment, and it'll pan back over and maybe go to I don't know, Kat or something,
like Cassie and McKay.
Yeah, or Cassie and McKay, and they're doing their own thing, and all of these characters are on their own plot lines, but they just like
they've all converged at this one point.
This
Euphoria
one
Fun
point.
Fair.
Yeah, the Euphoria Fun Fair. That would be a dope name for it.
That'd be pretty fucking awesome.
But in terms of like what,
imagine all the drugs at the Euphoria Fun Fair.
Man. But in terms of the things that happened in this episode, two things caught my eye. First, and this happens pretty early on, but with Cassie and McKay, when they go up to Nate's dad's chili cook-off fucking like booth or whatever, 5 years in a row, chili champions, 6 years by the end of the episode. But it comes up and he's like, "Oh, like yo, you and Cassie, huh?" And you're like, "Yeah, we're chilling." And
Cassie does not like this.
Yeah,
as she should not. That's kind of bullshit. Yeah, it was. That's bullshit on your part.
She was just like, "So you're just gonna like be like, you love me," and then 5 minutes later, be like, "We're just chilling." Also, though, by the way, like the fact that this man had told Cassie he loves her by episode 4, moves fast.
A little bit. Well, I don't know. We don't know how long they've been together in the first episode.
That's true.
It seems like they'd been together, kind of taking things slowly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but there's this weird
because in the first episode, he like gets a little too rough with her.
Yeah. Oh, was that the first episode?
And Rue's like, "Don't worry, this doesn't end in a rape." Like in the narration.
Oh.
She's like, "Don't worry, I know what this looks like it's leading to. They're just going to talk about it."
Yeah. But oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say. But when he says I'm chilling, like I feel like that was like a weirdly apt commentary on the nature of I don't know, relationship discourse today.
Oh yeah,
because
like this is a daily occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
This right here,
yeah,
it's just and it's the complication of: are we talking? Are we actually dating? What are we doing here? And like, what the fuck is talking? What are we doing? Okay, that's never existed before us. It's just like now we're like, well, we don't really want a girlfriend, but we also don't want to not have a girlfriend. Yeah, right. So like we're just gonna be
leave the door
talking
open wide enough.
I talk to people every fucking day.
It's like, damn, as much as me and you have been texting for the past fucking 4 years, we should be talking.
We might as well be fucking married. Okay, I now pronounce as Chuck and Larry.
Man, that's so funny. But like, what is talking? Yeah, and so
it's that we're chilling.
It gives two very different or the episode provides two very different definitions of what that talking might look like. But I think each has a similar sort of undertone. So like when it happens with McKay, you know, they're just hanging out at the carnival, right? They're literally just chilling. There is a interpretation in the world where that makes sense, but obviously that's not what's going on. And there's a higher text there that Cassie points out when she says, "Oh, you're gonna say you love me, but we're chilling." Later on in the episode, when Gia, Rue's sister, is with the twins, I don't remember their names.
But these dudes exist. I swear I've seen these dudes in my real life. I've been at a party and they've been there. Just like they're everywhere. Like these two dudes exist.
They are a goddamn prototype. Like it's fucking ridiculous. And like they're the exact kind of weed smokers that I never wanted to become, and glad I haven't.
I'm glad I'm not. Because dude, these kids suck.
Fuck these guys, bro. But they're later on in the episode, they're just chilling behind the Gravitron, I think it was, something like that, and like they're just sitting on two of them, or one is sitting with Gia in a car, in the trunk of a car, and the other is sitting on a hood of a car parked behind it with another young lady, and you know they're smoking or whatever, and Rue comes up and like, "What are you doing?" "Oh,
we're just chilling.
We're just chilling." And so, like, then I took a moment and stopped, and I was like, wait, what is the implication of we are just chilling? And it is that in either of these scenarios, these dudes are like, oh, well, what we're doing right now, we're just chilling, which they were. But you don't say we're just chilling
unless you've got something else planned.
Unless you're not also trying to fuck. That's just the reality.
Andy's just a.
I feel like
Andy's got to be this type of dude that says it in this context. I think.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know, like, well, I mean, because it's got a certain sinister overtone in this scene.
Yeah,
particularly, like we're just chilling.
Yeah,
it's like you are so obviously not just chilling.
Oh yeah, no, very, very obviously, like you were clearly trying to make a move on her, and
on this like 14-year-old girl,
yeah,
like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I there's not much way of justifying that.
There isn't any way to justify that.
Not at all. But they like the I feel like the commentary that Euphoria provides about like moments like that, like in terms of what they mean for a high school age person, like those are the valuable moments of the show. Not necessarily the fact that Kat goes and fucks this dude that was like really popular at their high school.
Apparently just has a fucking hammer.
Yeah, and then when he actually, not even worth saying it. It was a funny scene.
Oh yeah.
Like something like that happening, like that like there's not as much like they were just trying to keep Kat relevant, I feel like, for the episode, and like progress her story at the same time, which they did, but she was not the emphasis. She was very peripheral.
Not by any means. Yeah, and that's what's interesting is like they do a really good job of balancing these character stories.
Yeah. They keep you invested in all of them. Like I remember watching it week to week and being like, "Oh, we've seen this person's story, this person." Like, when are we going?
Because they start off like every episode starts off with like from some narration by a certain character, or not some narration. It's always narrated by Rue.
I hated this one. This was about Jules too, the one at the beginning of.
Was it
like the backstory at the beginning of the episode, which is also I love that, like that framework, like that the way that just setting up the episodes that way to start with the backstory of one of the characters.
It's wonderful. Because you'll end up getting to all the characters, and by the end, everything will make sense.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even have to worry about tying in backstory. It's just like, fuck it, we'll lay out the entire backstory for each character at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah, we'll just take 3 to 5 minutes and do it. But Jules is particularly, like, saddening.
They've all got some pretty sad stories.
Oh, without a doubt. They have some fucked up, traumatizing past in this show, but Jules particularly.
Jules had a rough time.
Yeah, it was just hard. I hate watching just like scenes with things that happen in that backstory.
I just don't like watching people. Why are you an asshole? What are you an asshole for? Why are you such a fuck?
Like your own mother sends you to a psych ward and doesn't tell you until you were on the other side of a plate glass door. Like, oh, fuck you.
How are you why are you like this?
Like, there's the point where she's like, no, and like she starts running. She's like, no, don't leave me here, don't leave me here. I'm like,
fuck.
Bro. Yeah.
She's just trans. You ain't got... Fuck a psych ward, bro. She just wants to be her.
Yeah. And honestly, I would say that it caused her problems to become exponentially worse. The fact that she was... Because the shit that people were... Like, they even showed just how starkly contrasting she was to everyone else in that ward. Like, these are people who, like, have serious mental and chemical imbalances that results in just, like, a variety of different behaviors that probably do need some more special attention.
Yeah.
Hers...
No.
Do not. Like,
no.
They just do not.
They do not. She's a human.
Yeah.
Fuck you for thinking otherwise.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
This also, the end of this episode, don't we get a little bit of a face-off between... I can't remember...
Nate and Jules also, but Jules and
his dad, right?
And this was the second thing that I referenced earlier. That was like a big thing that I noticed rewatching it, was the dichotomy between Nate's dad and Nate. What's Nate's dad's name? I don't remember.
I know him as McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy.
He's in Grey's Anatomy. God.
Great character in Grey's Anatomy. Much better guy than in this show.
But so you know how Jules...
Cal,
yeah. So Jules sees Cal, and then he peeks
and Cal's
Rue,
like, oh,
Rue probably
fuck.
knows. Yeah. And so here's what Cal does. At the end of the night, he goes and finds Jules. This man is like on his knees begging that she
doesn't
say anything and keeps her word or whatever.
And she's like, yeah,
of course. Like, I don't want people to know as much as you
I don't want people to know that I slept with you. What the fuck?
Yeah, like I'm never, like, I promise, like, Rue's not gonna say anything. It's all good. And this man is like, it's the nicest he was in the show ever was in that scene. I feel like.
Because he was terrified.
And he was genuinely appreciative of just like what she, like, and her position in that moment.
Dude, and I remember like the tension created through the first few episodes of the show. I was like, it is only a matter of time before someone gets killed. Like that's, and like by episode 4, I was convinced Cal was gonna fucking off her. I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. And then like obviously because that happens before Nate talks to her, right?
Yeah, and so that happens almost immediately after.
Yeah, and when Nate comes and talks to her, then I was like, oh, Nate's even more of a loose fucking cannon than Cal is.
No. But, like, what I noticed about the moment where Cal's talking to Jules and following that, like, when they get home, he goes straight up to his office, goes into his like, office or whatever and looks through his CDs to see if there's any missing. And I think it was in that moment where it's kind of unclear, but I'm pretty sure he realized in that moment that one was missing. But he feels guilty. Like, there was a look of guilt on his face because he was going in there to try to answer this question, and I can't remember if this happens before or after this episode either, but when he's with that hooker,
and he cries to her,
and he's
that's
like,
after, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, okay. But he's like, do the things that I do secretly, like, affect, like, do the things that my kids don't know about still affect them? And which is like a central question, I think, for this man's life in general.
I mean, and Nate's like this is that question is the point of their storyline.
And then I think it was the next scene after that. Maybe Rue and Gia went home, but like when Jules and Nate meet up, and it answers it just straight up is like, yes.
Like, of course, because it affects that.
This man is like, Nate pulls out, his cards or whatever, and he's just basically like, fuck you, I'm blackmailing you. You're going to shut the fuck up about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you are an incredible piece of shit. And that made me think back to way earlier in the episode, like with McKay and Cassie, when they were, when he's talking to McKay, he's like, why aren't you starting? Like, why aren't you? And he's like, I'm a freshman in college. Like, you don't start freshman first semester. Like, what the, like, and he's like, that sounds like an excuse. You know how I've won the Chili Championship 5 years in a row.
And if I'm McKay, I go, fuck you and your Chili. I am playing D1 football.
No, dead ass. Yeah.
Like,
but he was getting Nate to recognize, like, oh, don't you see how I've raised you? Like, you don't lose. Like, you don't take
and this
losing.
It's really, because, like, I know parents like this. I know dads like this.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully not exactly like this. I don't know. But, like, to an extent, I'm just like, I mean, especially this dichotomy with, like, Nate's athletics. That's a big one. Like, the football dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing. And, like, this conversation he has with McKay, there are actual dudes like this, and it's like, you're pathetic.
Yeah. Like, bro, let me live my life. Like, that's it. Let me live my life.
Like, it's like, yeah, I'm not starting. I am just a freshman. No, it's not just a fucking excuse, guy. How about you get the fuck off my dick, Mr. Chili Champion?
Like, who the fuck are you to, like, I'm just your son's friend. Like, I get you want to.
You have no bearing on my life.
Yeah, like, you want to see me succeed or whatever, but, like, by just being like, why the fuck aren't you starting yet? That's not helping me succeed in the slightest.
No,
like,
not at all.
At all. Like, maybe, I don't know, I can tell you about the team and say who the senior wide receivers are and how much better they are than me, because undoubtedly they are. They've played D1 football for 4 years.
For 4 years longer than I have.
Yeah. Like, I'm not.
I was playing against 5'10" white guys as linebackers a year ago. Now I'm facing 6'7" DNs. Like,
it's a bit of a side note, but I don't understand why parents like expect their kids to be like LeBron James. Like, just because you are more competitive on your like normal level does not mean that you're always going to be that way, because you're going to get to the next level. You're going to have to get better. And, like, everyone ain't LeBron. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Can't do it like
just
him.
not.
It's just a different breed. Literally. A entirely different breed.
Entirely different breed.
Any other person on this earth, probably.
That man's just, I mean, a man is the closest thing to a god we have.
Yeah. him and MJ. Which another funny thing about that too is like that. Yeah, you see that thing about it was like a picture of Bronny. Jr.
Yeah, that man looks old.
And he does. He looks like 40. Yeah.
I mean, that man looks at least 22. And he's 15 or 16 or something like that. And, like, did you see the side-by-side of LeBron at 16?
But they were like, this man LeBron's probably eating fucking
rolled up bread. And I was like, LeBron is a fucking maniac. Yeah. Like I saw that and I was like, and I put that into context because, like,
this man was homeless for part of when he was playing basketball at St. Vincent St. Mary.
And, like, I think about it and, like,
yeah,
that man's just a fucking.
And then I was thinking about
legend.
MJ too. Like, MJ was not like his dad was a lot from what I gathered from The Last Dance. His dad was like really into like just hardcore. Like, you're gonna be like great. Like, you don't accept losses or whatever. But like, MJ was not a physical freak ever. He was a physical freak for sure.
Yeah, but
he just did not like.
He didn't look like LeBron.
Yeah, if I was in high school and I saw MJ, I'd be like, oh, it just looks like another dude in the basketball team.
It does.
And then it wasn't.
No, I mean, different animal, but the same beast. What the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Oh, shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was about to say that anyway. I was like, what the fuck did that? What? Different animal, same beast.
Just a legend.
Yeah, but back to Cal. That guy Very complicated man, but probably the most sympathetic that I felt for him in the entire show.
No, I mean, except for that part where he is crying on that hooker's lap.
Other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a...
prostitute, sex worker, sorry. I probably shouldn't say hooker.
It's like at least Cal in a lot of ways is Nate. Nate is Cal in a lot of ways. But at least Cal has the maturity to criticize himself.
Nate's just doing him.
Nate is just like, this is
that's
how
Cal's.
Nate is a sociopath. Honestly.
Nate is a sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, potentially to a greater degree than Gus Fring.
Yeah.
But like that is how the damage of the things Cal does that he thinks his son doesn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how it's damaging him.
Yeah.
Is because his son watches him do these things, or knows he's doing these things, and knows he's not talking about it.
Yeah.
And so he just knows, so now he's just thinking like, fuck it. I'm going to do those things too, and if I don't talk about it, things will be just fine. It's like, that's just not how it works. That's not how it works.
Just not. Yeah, but I think that was most of the big points of that episode, if I remember. I mean, there was the other stuff with Cassie and what's Nate's girlfriend's name again?
Maddie?
Maddie, yeah, Maddie. Cassie and Maddie.
That girl looks like a Maddie.
She does.
Like, looking at her, that's like, that is Maddie, you know?
Yeah. No,
we all know Maddie.
That was, yeah.
I mean, she is, like, there's a lot of characters in there that are just, like, prototypical. Oh. And Maddie is one of those characters.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how prototypical she is. She's very...
McKay.
She's honestly, she's dealing with... Wow, holy shit. She's dealing with virtually... Not the same problems, but she's kind of in Carmela's shoes in a lot of ways.
A little bit. A little bit.
Like,
I see where you're coming from here.
What she's dealing with on one hand and why she stays on the other.
She doesn't even have a mansion.
Yeah, she just gets like nice gifts every so often, and
maybe like
I don't know.
Did he give her gifts?
I don't know. You remember that they went over on her backstory. I remember them being like, the reason she's stuck with Nate is because he makes her feel like,
yeah, because he's like, if anybody hurts you, I'd fucking kill them.
Yeah,
and it's like, and she was like, fuck yeah, and you're like, oh no,
like, really?
You would do that for me? But it's like there are a lot of like archetypical high schoolers in this show. Nate being one of them, McKay being one of them, Maddie certainly. I'd say Rue's not quite a prototype of anybody.
I
mean, a few of us know Rue, but not like a prototypical Rue, you know?
That's fair. I think they're ultimately, like, these characters are meant to symbolize different things about...
It's
like we said.
It's kind of a dirty Breakfast Club.
Damn.
I think I'm right on with that.
Damn.
I ain't never thought about it like that till just now, but I said it and I was like, yo, that's exactly what this is.
That is... Because, like...
They even get high.
They're not all particularly friends, really, but they do, like, they come into contact.
They come into contact.
And they, like, learn about
like, the only time they're all together is that dance in the finale.
No shit. Damn. We're gonna have to investigate this further, but you're onto something.
It's pretty. Maybe that'll be like a whole episode. Is the like there's this podcast that I listen to called like I can't remember what it's called, but it's hosted by Shea Serrano and Jason Concepcion, and it's called The Connect, and it's taking two different movies that are completely fucking different, but there's one through line that can kind of connect these movies, and you kind of talk about it based around.
That's a whole podcast.
A whole podcast.
That's
and
fucking awesome.
Oh, it's genius, and like I've seen it, and I want to do some of these with you. I can't believe I haven't brought it up.
Yeah, we definitely should,
because it's a great, and that's a really good example. We could do Euphoria and The Breakfast Club. Maybe that's how we kind of make it our own. We do a movie connected to a TV show or something. But The Connect, like here's a few examples. Nice sweater. That's the theme for one of their episodes. Knives Out. and The Big Lebowski. Because, of course, there's nice sweaters all over in those movies. And that's an hour and 23-minute podcast.
Yeah, that sounds like our type of jam.
It's exactly what we're looking for. Let's see. Deadly Latinos, Sicario, and Terminator, Dark Fate. See, like, it's just, I love it. It's a genius and creative idea. So I think we should hop all over that with Euphoria and The Breakfast Club.
I think so, definitely.
Let's move into our last TV show.
What other than Rick and Morty?
We got to talk about Rick and Morty.
Like...
Of course we're going to talk about Rick and Morty. I mean, that was like the first episode breakdown we ever did was a Rick and Morty episode.
Oh, shit, it was.
It was interdimensional. No. It was M. Night Shyamalan's.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. That was,
where they,
I always forget how
they turned like
gold in that episode.
A hot dog into, they turned something into a hot dog, and we had a whole conversation about like, what if we could turn stuff into hot dog? But that's not the episode we're talking about. We're talking season 3, episode 3 of Rick and Morty. This is it's a pretty important episode for pop culture.
Yeah,
in general,
in general.
It's impacted the universe more than probably any
Rick
episode.
And Morty episode.
No, not any Rick and Morty episode. Any bit of television or film there has ever been to grace a film screen. Season 3, episode 3, Pickle Rick, is the most important episode of television of our time.
Pickle Rick!
I'm a fucking pickle, Morty! Look at me! Yeah. What are you supposed to do? like you gonna, what? He's like, I don't know. It's the fucking point. I'm a genius. I can turn myself into a pickle!
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of the most Rick episodes.
Well, because he did the whole thing to avoid going to family therapy. That's Rick.
That's reason
Rick.
enough, you know? That's reason enough. Fuck family therapy.
Like, it's a different episode. I can't remember if this is season 4 or not.
I think it is.
Where he's got the fucking booby traps set up all over the therapist's office, and he's like, save all the humans and the therapist.
And he doesn't let her in the car because he's like, okay, you're overstepping your bounds.
Like, let's have some professionality here. And
then she's like, oh yeah, that was funny because the therapist, like, she's like, I am worth so much more than this or something. Like, you're like, why do I do this to myself?
Yes. Yeah. It's funny, the like inherent themes that have stuck through with these episodes.
Right.
Kind of connecting.
Yeah, no, it's
different dots here. Because like we connected Breaking Bad to Sopranos, and then we kind of connect Sopranos to Rick and Morty here if we wanted to with therapy angle. But
well, we'd be good at that podcasting format.
We really fucking would. We might have to fucking do that. But
Breakfast Club and
Euphoria. I mean, it's Pickle Rick. This man's an icon.
Yeah, no.
You go up to anybody, like you show a picture of Pickle Rick to somebody, random person on the street. Like we go Billy on the Street mode with Billy Eichner, and he goes, "I'll give you $1 if you can name this man." And then he shows them a picture, and they're gonna be like, "Well, it's fucking Pickle Rick." Duh.
Like how else? And so the notable thing about Pickle Rick is just the precision with which his transformation, his evolution, the evolution of the pickle occurs. It occurs over a span of maybe 10 minutes. It's the fastest species of evolution I've ever seen.
It's
like to full form, like offensive capabilities.
The first thing he kills is a cockroach, right? Well, he slides off the table, right? He rolls into the sun because of a cat.
He rolls into the sun,
and he's like, "Well, this is it. This is how I die."
Yep. Then
he's
it
like,
rains.
This is worse than dying on the fucking toilet. And then it rains, and he's like, "Oh, sweet water!" And then the current takes him. He's like, "Fuck,
too much,
sideways." And he falls into the storm drain, and down there he finds a cockroach, bites that thing's head off, uses its brain.
Oh no, he hops on its body, I think.
Oh yeah, he hops on its body, bites off the back of its head, and uses his tongue to control its brain movements.
God, that was so gross. And then he, from there, kills a couple mice.
Oh, your friend died doing what he loved, being a dumb fucking rat. Another connection to Sopranos. Your friend died doing what he loved, being a dumb fucking rat.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, and then from there, what is it? He takes the
Well, he built himself a whole fucking body.
I think that's all he needed was the rat and the cockroach, wasn't it?
He needed the rat's skeleton.
And then he took a pickle. No, that was later on. That's later on.
What's the thing he uses to like? He uses like screws and nails and stuff to keep them together.
It was like
a battery.
Battery or something. No, it was the battery that charged his weapon. He would have to change the battery every time.
Yeah.
What did he use?
Yo, he had like a fucking laser.
Yeah, I can't.
But I think he had. I can't remember. But
I can't remember either.
He happens upon. I don't even know, a Russian hideout of some sort.
Yeah, they're never really clear on what was going on.
Svedanya.
I'm assuming it's like the Russian mob or something close to that.
It's something. But like he terrorizes these people.
Oh yeah.
Whose fucking toilet was this?
Yeah. Well, they are the ones who get like scared of Rick first because they're like, the fuck? Why is there pickle? And then they're like, Solenia.
Do svedanya. Solenia.
And so that's the whole thing, and then basically John Wick in pickle form comes out.
Oh, it's badass.
It's crazy.
The way they like that shot where he like takes out all the cameras and he faces off with that guy who they're holding his sister captive, quote unquote.
Oh yeah,
what was Jaguar?
Jaguar.
Time to unleash Jaguar. And then he befriends Jaguar.
I remember thinking, like, this is, like, a better fight scene than I've seen in a lot of, like, $1 million movies.
Well, that's what's fascinating, is that animation provides you with that opportunity.
Right?
To do things that are not possible with actual people.
That's kind of the thing that got me hooked in anime, too, was, like, watching the fight. Because the fights in there, like, honestly, Pickle Rick fight, comparative with... I mean, your average Naruto fight's probably better, more in depth, and everything.
Yeah. But the
Pickle Rick stands up.
Don't get me wrong. Pickle Rick is fucking tough.
Yeah,
okay?
That shit's hard.
It's a fucking fight scene.
Yeah.
All right? And, like, the reason I bring this up is, like, the animation thing is because, like, Ahsoka Tano, character from the Clone Wars, Star Wars series, she was always so jumping all over the place and, like, so mobile
it's easier
and easier in animation.
Star Wars.
But she was transferred into live action for this most recent episode of The Mandalorian.
Ahsoka, is that the one with the red and blue?
Blue and white.
Why did I say red and blue? Yeah, blue and white.
Yeah, like
they did a real live version of her.
Yes, and it's played by Rosario Dawson. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to see like what they did for the costume on that.
It's pretty clean. It looks really good, but like she doesn't have the same mobility because it's live action, and like. It doesn't lose much for the character, but it's like you had that opportunity with animation, and that's what's so cool about Rick and Morty is they take advantage of that every opportunity they fucking get.
Yeah. So she was like pretty particularly like agile in the show. Like
it was like it was definitely like part of her fighting style. She was more mobile than most.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like too in the fight scene when they have the. How like they have the stereotype because like that's what Rick and Morty does. It plays on the stereotypes and like it. It bastardizes them yet makes them better.
And no episode exemplifies that more than season 4, episode 3, when they take the crew and just shit all over the heist movies, and do it. Clap, 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 clap. Adjusting clap rate. Clap, clap. Clap, slow clap achieved.
But the point where they're like they both get hurt and they're like talking over their shoulders and like trying to like sew themselves up, and Jaguar is like I don't even remember what he had, but he like lights something on fire.
Yeah, like he cauterizes a whole wound like with a fucking lighter.
Maverick is over there with mustard and a pickle slice and a stapler. Like I was like, this man, because I didn't even get that the first couple watches of the Pickle Rick episode, but I was like, this man sealed up his wound by stapling a pickle with mustard onto his body
because he's already made of pickle.
That is just like. I don't know. That's insanely creative.
And that's what this entire show is. It's just insanely creative.
Insanely creative. Like
he ends up blowing up the whole.
Did you
the whole house?
Have you ever? I can't remember. I think it was the. No, it was the. Did we watch the acid vat episode over here?
No, we watched the crew episode.
Okay, so I watched that on my own, but I watched
the vat of acid.
Yeah,
just jump into the vat of acid.
I think that's my favorite one of season 4 of the vat of acid.
It's strong. It's a strong one.
But they at the end they were. I watched the they'll explain like how they made the episode and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just talking about how they came up. They said they're like, yeah, we wrote the whole thing in a day, basically. We were just like, how can we make fun of Batman? And I was like, what? Or like make fun of the acid trope from Batman.
Oh yeah, because Joker, that's like big time part of that story.
And I was like, how does a Rick and Morty episode start from, okay, you know what we should make fun of? The fact that people die by falling in vats of acid. And then they come out, they end up, and they even explain how the jumps happen. And I'm like...
When the rat jumps in, and the bones come up, and they're like, holy shit! That rat's bones are huge! I've got to call someone. We've got to get to the bottom of this. We'll just wait here.
And then they're just like, okay, fuck it. Yeah. Rick and Morty season 4 is so fucking funny.
That might be one that we just have to go by episode.
Honestly,
maybe we just do an entire Rick and Morty watch. Beginning to end.
All of this sounds like fucking gold.
We'll have time over Christmas break, I'll tell you what.
Oh, we definitely will.
That might be a move, a Rick and Morty rewatch.
And that would take us, like, honestly, we could do that in a day.
We could do several episodes a day.
We probably couldn't record all of it in a day, but we could watch all of it and take notes over all of it in a day for sure.
Oh, I mean,
it's only 10 episodes
per season, bro. And like, think about it. If we really wanted to, we could watch an episode, record on it. Watch an episode, record on it. Watch an episode, record on it. Yep. And then, like, that could be our day, and we just did 3 fucking episodes.
And this is how Penny Boom podcast segments get made.
It's kind of the way Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland come up with ideas for Rick and Morty.
Honestly. But yeah.
How can we make fun?
We also got to talk about the end of the Pickle Rick episode, though, when he leaves with the... helicopter and the dude is like
Dos Vidania Solenia Solvenia.
God, it's so dramatic. And
then the whole building goes up in flames.
You know absolutely nothing about these men in suits. Absolutely nothing.
They just created a prototypical antagonist and were like, you'll deal with it.
Yeah. But they even give them references to their past and try to make those references impactful in the moment, and they are.
They are. I felt Jaguar's pain when they told him his sister was dead.
I know. Honestly, they lied to this man. And, that's the only fact I know. They lied to him about what? I don't necessarily. Something about his sister being dead. But when it that man has a whole arc. In the episode, he starts out in prison and he ends up freed and liberated because he now, I guess, faced his oppressors and shit. It's the microcosm of just fucking thought that happens in a 20-minute Rick and Morty episode is astonishing.
It's unbelievable. And I know people are like, fuck Rick and Morty fans for thinking they're smarter than everybody and da-da-da-da.
That's not what we're saying. We're just saying they...
bro, the thing is
that... They're intelligent.
The thing is that the reason Rick and Morty fans talk about how fucking good the show is because the show is so fucking good. It is a very intelligently written series, and it's not like we're saying you have to be super fucking smart to understand it.
Yeah.
We're just saying that you need to accept that Rick and Morty is really a fucking smart show.
Yeah.
It's smart comedy. It is through and through.
It's just good comedy. That's it. Always gonna be. I don't. As long as the same people are making Rick and Morty, I don't think they're gonna fail.
Oh, and I mean, they won't. There will never be a different creator of Rick and Morty. They hold that too.
They can't. They're too good at it.
Oh, and there's no way those guys would be willing to let someone else create it.
And I would argue, funnier than Family Guy.
It's a generally better show than Family Guy, I'd say.
I think that's even a foregone conclusion. But I respect that Family Guy was this very funny animated show.
See, and that's the thing, is that like shows like The Simpsons, which led to Family Guy, which leads to what ends up being like Rick and Morty. Like those evolutions need to happen, and like The Simpsons, very fucking funny, super funny show and stuff. But like, I don't watch it and get the same laughs I do out of it as I do Rick and Morty.
No,
just because like, I mean, obviously now it's more unhinged. Simpsons was on fucking Fox. It's not like they're gonna be dropping F-bombs and shit. But I mean, like that is an evolution that needed to happen, and I appreciate The Simpsons for that, and then like them creating basically the animated comedy,
Yeah,
because like
because like it's like I'm kind of upset I didn't appreciate the animated comedy until like
I'm so glad.
Older, like
I'm so glad I didn't appreciate it till I got older.
Really? Was it?
Just because now I'm glad I didn't really give a shit about watching TV until the last few years, because I wouldn't have. I just didn't give a shit before then. It's like why would I have watched it? Now I watch it for like I'm going to analyze this shit.
Well, I didn't understand what it meant to watch a show from beginning to end. I think that was like a big thing. Like once I realized like the value, not just like catching an episode while it's on cable, but
I thought I had it figured out watching movies. I was like, yo, I love this movie shit. It's so much easier than watching a whole TV show.
Oh yeah.
But then you watch a whole TV show and you're like, God, I got to know those characters a lot better than I ever have a fucking movie.
It's like everything I wanted from the movie. Because like
turns out it was fucking better.
I've definitely had bouts of like like I'll watch a movie and like I'll be like, man, like I really feel attached to these characters, but it's all over. I'll never hear anything about them or from them ever again because it was a movie. And TV shows just subvert that whole process. They're like, hey, you're gonna stick with them for a very long time, and then
when you have to split, you're gonna fucking hate it.
It's gonna hurt even worse,
dude. My dad just watched Silicon Valley from beginning to end, and he didn't realize the end was the end. He thought there might be another season when he was going into it, and he realized like going into the last season, he was like, oh shit, this is the last season. And then, so when he told me he finished it, I was like, so now you're kind of lost. You don't know what you're going to do with your life next. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, that's not an everybody thing. I finished a show and I'm like, God, is there anything, like, why would I watch anything else now? Like, I need to watch the show again. Yeah. Like that, like, and that's usually the general thought process, especially when I finish a sitcom. When I finished the sitcom, I was like, I just got so comfortable watching this show.
When I finished How I Met Your Mother,
I rewatched How I Met Your Mother like 5 times immediately.
I couldn't stop. I was like,
and this happens with every sitcom I watch. It's not just How I Met. Like when I watched Parks and Rec, bro, I watched that shit like 6 times. When I watched Schitt's Creek just now, I watched that 2 or 3. Office, bro. I can't tell you how many times I watched the fucking Office.
In the last episode, I'm not gonna lie,
bro. I did cry in the last episode of The Office. No, like that's the thing too, is we are different television watchers in that it does not take a lot to make me cry, bro. Like I am crying at most shit that gets on TV. Like,
yeah.
Like even some Rick and Morty episodes will fuck with me to the point where I tear up. Like we'll talk about it eventually. A different Rick and Morty episode that'll actually make me tear up. Eventually, we'll get to it. But there's just. I cry when I watch TV, man. It's the fucking move.
I think we should end it there. That's it. That's the quote of the show.
I cry when I watch TV. Deal with it.
That's the name of the episode. There you go.
Well, this is a good one.
This
has been the Penny Bloom podcast. This has been episode 63.
63.
63 of them hoes.
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah, you might call us like experienced or something.
Experienced. Like if this was a video game and you had different levels to choose from, it was like beginner or experienced, you'd click experienced.
For sure. I mean, who's out there really doing what we're doing? I mean,
and that's
probably
the thing,
someone, but not as
but
good.
nobody's doing it exactly the way we're doing it. Like, and that's what's fun about this.
Never come across the podcast as
all over the place,
free as
ours. And what's interesting is part of that freedom comes from the fact that we're just
2 dudes.
Just 2 dudes doing it. Like if we had like an overlord company or something, like it
right.
might be limited. Like I know I wouldn't be able to say fuck as much as I do.
Yeah, that would.
Bro, I was thinking about that the other day. We've got 60 episodes. I drop fuck at least 10 times in each of those. So that's like at least 600 fucks. At least.
At least.
I'm telling you, 10 is generous. Like, I'm dropping probably more like 20.
I'll even be like listening back to the episode sometimes, and I'm like,
bro, I said fuck.
recommended this to like adults like who have known me my whole life, like.
Bro, like especially when I'm listening to the Mandalorian rewatch, it'll stick out to me. Like, I just said 5 fucks in 2 sentences. And I'll be like,
man, fucks.
I'll be like, fuck. Well, 'twas I, Colton Robertson. That was Tavares Pennington. And we're going to be back. Because this is the Penny Bloom Podcast.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. Peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.
Always.
Is there even a question about it?
No.
Keanu, Rick, and Morty. Go check out that episode. Bye.